Have you ever felt like some learning methods just don't work for you? You keep reading your notes, revising flashcards, but at the end, when you actually want to use those words, they are nowhere to be found. Don't worry, because I think everyone has been there, you're not alone in this. But recently, I came up with a solution, a vocabulary technique that I developed while preparing for my German C1 exam. And I think it's going to work in the best way for auditory learners, but anyone can use this, anyone can give it a try because I find it quite useful. First of all, let's explain what's an auditory learner. Well, auditory learners are people who learn in the best way by hearing and listening to things. How can I know if I'm one? Okay, let's make a quick test. Can you memorize songs easily? Or when your friend just starts using some weird word, do you also start using the same thing just because you've heard it from your friend? Or do you think podcasts are really useful? Or from my childhood, I can give an example. When I was studying, if you happen to listen to me outside of my room, you would think I was speaking to someone, but in fact, I was just studying. I was speaking out loud while studying because in order to understand something, I had to hear it from myself. If any of these examples are familiar, then you can be an auditory learner. If you're still like, no, I actually learn in the best way by writing things, that's perfectly fine because everyone learns with the combination of all four skills. Just some of them work better for some people. If I have to remind you the skills, there are two passive and two active skills. Passive ones are reading and listening. Active ones are writing and speaking. And I believe there's just a strong correlation between passive and active skills, so in order to enhance your speaking, I think the best thing you can do is to work on your listening. So whether you're an auditory learner or not, how did I come up with this method? Well, I had 10 days until my German exam, and I had been preparing regularly for this. I wasn't afraid, I was feeling super ready. But at some point I just realized there were a lot of stuff that I could have learned. Like, it would make a great difference if I knew those words too. But I didn't, and I had 10 days. And I just asked myself, how can we create a method that will help me to learn a maximum amount of vocabulary in 10 days with the minimum effort? And then I thought of my learning habits, because I believe learning methods just differ for everyone. We can have two completely diverse personalities and our learning ways are probably going to be super different as well. But for me, I just came up with this solution. Quite simple, and I think it works perfectly, because yesterday I found out that I passed my German C1 exam and I got full marks from speaking. Let's get right into it. The things that you need are quite simple. You will only need your phone and the material to start with. Here I'm taking a German C1 book, but this can be anything. This can be anything. This can be a text from your textbook. This can be a text that ChatGPT wrote for you. You know those YouTube videos like 10 Spanish adjectives you can use? You watch those videos, you're like, oh, it would actually be really nice if I started using them. You maybe take notes, you maybe revise those like once, but then do you use them? Maybe like only one that you could remember. Or you could just create your own material. We just need something written, something that contains information, okay? And then it's just quite simple. We're going to read this thing and we're going to record it. And it's going to be our personal podcast. So the idea is we're just going to create some personal audio, which contains a text, a list, with some highlighted vocabulary, highlighted grammar rules, and then we're going to listen to this as many times as we can. I mainly use those like podcasts, as I said, because I really like listening to music, but it makes me so tired. Then I switch to podcasts. Then I also get tired of listening to two other people talking. Then I switch to my own recordings, because listening to my own voice saying things helps my brain to retain all the information in a better way. What I just like about this method is you can use it for everything, to learn anything literally. Like, this is a text from the C1 book. I can just read this text, I can make a recording, and I can personalize the way I read the text. I can read and translate it to English. I can read and just stop at some word and say its meaning, say its synonym, or I can realize that I make mistakes and I can read it again. Right now I'm going to give you examples with different types of materials for each language level, namely like beginner, intermediate, and advanced. We're first going to start with advanced, because I was talking about my German exam, like something similar to what I did. For example, here's a German text that I got from internet. The level can be C1 or C2. This is about exam stress. And here, as you see, I just marked some vocabulary and expressions which are difficult for me, or which don't make a part of my active vocabulary, or which are quite useful for C1 or C2 language levels. For example, let's try reading this. Untersuchungen haben gezeigt, dass 4 von 10 Schülerinnen und Schülern trotz guter Vorbereitung unter Prüfungsangst leiden. Trotz guter Vorbereitung unter Prüfungsangst leiden. Bei den Studierenden kennen 53% diese Angst. Jeder Vierte ist von einer stark ausgeprägten Form betroffen. Und so weiter. And now let's read something simpler in another language. 10 French phrases and each one of them has an adjective. The ones that I highlighted with blue are adjectives. I got these phrases from ChatGPT. And also you can see other information marked in these texts. For example, in some places I just wanted to show that some words are feminine. I just want to mark some prepositions here. I just wanted to show some difficult verbs which are really essential for B2 level. For example, le professeur a donné une explication claire qui a aidé tout le monde à comprendre. Une explication claire. Elle a une attitude très ouverte envers les nouvelles idées. Elle a une attitude très ouverte envers les nouvelles idées. Il a pris une décision juste en tenant compte des besoins de chacun. En tenant compte des besoins. Keeping in mind. La solution semble pratique et facile à mettre en œuvre. Mettre en œuvre. So if we're talking about a solution, we can say to implement a solution. Mettre en œuvre. La solution semble pratique et facile à mettre en œuvre. This is also like, if I have something that's easy to do, then I can also say that it's practical to do. Like this kind of enriches the way you speak. And now something quite simple for beginners. This is once again from ChatGPT, it's a Russian text which kind of highlights the grammatical rule genitive. For example, if I want to read and record this. Вчера я был у моего друга. У него есть много интересных книг и красивых фотографий. Мы пили чашки черного чая и ели куски шоколадного торта. После чая мы говорили о планах нашего отпуска. Я рассказал ему о достопримечательностях моего города, а он показал фотографии своей поездки. Перед уходом я попросил у него книги по истории. Он дал мне ее без проблем. У него действительно большая коллекция литературы. Like, if you are asking something from someone, you know, я попросил у него. Я попросил у него книги. Книги about what? Книги по истории. Or here you know that it's много интересных книг. У него есть много интересных книг. This is how you can use this skill with each one of the language levels, even if I personally use it most for advanced learning. I think a reason can be because I have the advanced level in most of my languages. I have a lot of recordings in German and I have the weirdest topics.
Ich versichere Ihnen, dass es sich hierbei nicht den Regelfall handelt und nicht dem üblichen Servicestandard unserer Fluggesellschaft entspricht. Erwartungen erfüllen, Vergütung, Compensation, Vergütung bekommen, eine Entschuldigung anerkennen und akzeptieren. Das kann doch jedem passieren. Das kann jeden treffen. Ich versichere Ihnen, dass es sich hierbei nicht den Regelfall handelt und nicht dem üblichen Servicestandards unserer Fluggesellschaft entspricht. Okay?
So that's basically my new learning method. I don't know if it's in any way revolutionary or if anyone else does something similar regularly, but I found it quite useful while learning for my German C1 exam. It just helped me to recognize all the structures, all the new words, all the synonyms, in a short amount of time right before my exam. And during the exam I actually used that new information I learned because it was just constantly repeating in my head, and that's the best thing about this new technique. Since you hear yourself speaking, your brain just recognizes better. Your brain is like, oh my god, it's me. Okay, I'm listening to myself. And then when you have to speak again in a real life situation or in an exam, your brain just recalls all the things, your brain just remembers of that recording, and it's like, okay, we know the structure, we said it before, and you also just imitate it in real life, and it sounds quite natural. After watching this video, just find the learning material and try to make a recording that you're going to listen to regularly for the next few days, and then tell me about the results in the comments. I think this video can also demonstrate to you that you should always try to develop new learning methods based on your strengths. Because I was just thinking of mine, and I told myself, I can learn in the best way by hearing things. I sometimes save German TikTok videos and I watch them again and again, and then I realized I learned the vocabulary that was used in that TikTok. So why don't I make my own language learning recordings that I can listen to like podcasts? And I think it's just easier than reading a list that you made, easier than revising flashcards, because not always we can just dedicate ourselves to read something. Like most of the times, just walking outside or before sleeping you can listen to this. While doing your skincare, you can listen to this. While cooking, you can listen to this. There are a lot of occasions, and I think we should use the opportunities that we have in the best way possible. So hopefully this video was inspiring for you. You can follow me on Instagram because I share quite a lot about my life and language learning journey. Please let me know in the comments what you think about this technique and if you have something to add. Thanks for your time and attention, and see you in another video. Bye.